My name is Sally. I've been married for 3 years and still can't have children. My husband and I both work, but the husband who was kind before we got married is somehow cold now and never helps with the housework. I don't know why it turned out this way. If there's a reason, it's probably anger towards me for not being able to get pregnant easily. Or maybe he was always like that. But now that we're married, I can't help but think it's my fault for not seeing it. But the problem isn't just that, it also lies with my husband's family. My father-in-law passed away when my husband was in college, and he graduated from college while working part-time jobs. He has a sister, Anna, who is quite selfish and graduated from college with the support of her mother and my husband's income. But Anna, the selfish sister, was happy about her brother John's marriage. "I'm so happy to have a sister-in-law," she said. I was also happy to have a sister-in-law and wanted to get along, so I enjoyed shopping together when invited. But Anna, skilled at making requests, would always look at my wallet wanting to eat something delicious every time we went shopping. I'm on your side. So, it's better if you listen to my requests. But once you're married, life becomes separate. So, I thought it was only for now and accepted Anna's selfishness. However, it got worse after marriage, and even my mother-in-law started to rely on my wallet. "Come over this weekend, dear. And when you do, buy these," she'd say, sending a note with a list of a large amount of food written on it. Just the snacks would cost over $100. Plus, there were things like flour, sauce, and sugar. I thought she could buy them herself, but the note would add, "Don't buy cheap sauce, get this brand," referring to high-end products you'd wonder are used in luxury restaurants. Well, I'm driving there, so it's okay. I thought about it and bought them, but the money never came back. The total comes to this much, I'd say, presenting a receipt that easily exceeded $400. "Oh, is that so?" She'd glance at the receipt, crumple it up, and throw it in the trash. It was clear she had no intention of paying. Moreover, when I go to my in-laws, both my mother-in-law and Anna wouldn't move from their seats. "It's about time for lunch, Sally. Is pasta okay?" Thinking I'd get something made for me, I replied yes, but then Anna would start complaining. "I want fried chicken." Then my husband would say, "I want rice." So, pasta, chicken and rice, okay. "You better start cooking soon or it won't be ready for lunch." "Wait, am I supposed to make all of that?" "Of course, you are. You're the daughter-in-law, after all. Once you're done with lunch, please clean up. The kitchen is especially dirty, so make sure it's clean. It's hard to keep up with cleaning when you're working, you know. What would you like for dinner?" "I'll think about it, so start early, please." In the end, I had to prepare 3 different menus, and even after being exhausted, there was still the kitchen to clean. Without being allowed to sit down, it was cleaning the whole house next. And before that was even finished, the menu for dinner was written on a note, stating tonight, it's this. And again, it was a large amount. It was like preparing for a restaurant with so many dishes listed. Naturally, if ingredients were missing, I had to go out and buy them, and from shopping to finishing cooking, it took hours. This became a weekly ordeal, and going to my in-laws became a pain. This is ridiculous, I don't feel rested on my days off. It was too much for me, so I talked to my husband about it. His response was, "Isn't that just how being a daughter-in-law is?" "But they don't even pay me back for what I buy?" "It's fine, isn't it? You work, after all." "Then, you should share the burden." "Why should I be the one to pay? I'm the one providing for this household, aren't I? Because of me, you can live here too. Can't you just put up with my mom and sister's whims?" But when I compare the household expenses my husband claims he's covering to what I'm spending on his family, it's clear I'm paying way more. No matter what I say, my husband just shrugs it off, and then goes and tattles to his family. Dripping with sarcasm. "Well, I never have. How dare you say such things? And you can't even have kids." "Really, you're the worst. We were kind enough to approve of this marriage, and you complain about a little shopping? If you have complaints, maybe you should try having a child first." "How could you?" "A woman's worth is in childbirth. A wife who can't have kids has no right to talk back." And from there, it only got worse, to the point I was being summoned even on weekdays. Then one day, I got a call from an unknown number. Who could this be? Picking up, I heard a woman's voice I didn't recognize. "I'm John's girlfriend. I'm pregnant, so please divorce him."
Excuse me?
What? John didn't tell you? Well, I suppose he wouldn't. You can't get pregnant, right? It's been 3 years. You're essentially pointless, so just divorce him. I'm going to be his wife.
Who are you?
I told you, I'm John's girlfriend.
No, I mean your name.
Emily. I'm much younger than you, just 25. And I got pregnant right away. Marrying me would make him happier.
Huh.
So, divorce him, okay? I can't just. If you're telling the truth, I need to talk to my husband. The answer will be the same. He knows about it. Even his mom and sister know. Laughing, she hung up, staring at the disconnected call. I couldn't make heads or tails of it. This must be a prank. There's no way John would cheat. And have a child? That's unbelievable. It's just a cruel joke. I tried to brush it off, but at dinner, I brought it up, trying to make light of the situation. Got the strangest call today. Your girlfriend telling me she's pregnant and asking for a divorce. Said her name was Emily. Must be someone's idea of a bad joke. But my husband's response was far from expected. His smile faded, and he looked serious. This isn't a joke. Nope.
What do you mean?
Emily is my lover. And yes, she's pregnant. I was going to tell you. Trouble is, she couldn't wait. He almost seemed happy about it.
That's a lie, right?
No lie. She's pregnant. I'm going to be a father this fall. I was speechless. I was convinced it was just a prank. I thought if I told my husband, he'd just laugh it off as a bad joke. But he confirmed everything. So, we should get a divorce.
How can you say that so suddenly?
It's simple. I have another woman, and she's pregnant. Staying with a woman who can't bear children isn't something I can do. I married you to become a father.
I just can't give you an answer so quickly.
Why not? I have a girlfriend who's pregnant. It's only natural that we get a divorce, isn't it?
I need time to think.
There's nothing to think about. Despite his words, I couldn't eat. I left the table and went straight to bed. The next day was my day off. But I couldn't shake off what had happened. Then my phone rang. It was my mother-in-law, demanding I come over. Reluctantly, I went, expecting the usual list of demands, but today there was none. For the first time since getting married, I don't have to shop for them. The atmosphere at my in-laws' house felt different. Sit down here, my mother-in-law demanded, with a stern face, while my sister-in-law smirked beside her. What could they possibly want from me now? I wished they'd just leave me alone. Then my mother-in-law spoke up. So, I hear John has a mistress. It seems so. And she's pregnant. Yes. You knew, didn't you? Emily said you and Anna were aware. Yes, I knew about his mistress. But it's your fault, so you can't complain, can you?
Me, the bad one?
Yeah. It's widely believed that if a husband cheats, it's the wife's fault. You haven't fulfilled your duties as a wife.
My duties?
What exactly are these duties? I've kept up with the housework and taken care of every weekend chore at my parents' house. I've done everything my husband has asked without complaining, no matter how exhausted I was. What have I done to deserve this? Yes, you were supposed to get pregnant. Isn't that the most important thing for a wife? Since you couldn't do that, it's no wonder he found someone else.
That's harsh.
That's a terrible thing to say. It's not like I don't want children. But it's not happening, so what can I do? It's as if his mistress got pregnant in your place. Right. To be married and not able to have kids. It's like you're finished as a woman. Poor John. And yet, when John proposed divorce, you refused to accept it. So, he told his mom about yesterday to get her on his side. With a child on the way, divorce is only logical. No matter how much you love John, you should part ways. Exactly. Since you're the one who can't have children, it's your fault. I don't care who becomes my sister-in-law. But a baby would make things interesting. Better than not having one.
But, it's all so sudden.
What are you worried about? Finances? You work too, so there's no need to worry. Don't destroy his happiness over such trivial matters.
No, I'm not thinking about that. I just can't sort out my feelings.
You can sort that out after the divorce. Just hurry up and leave. The other woman wants to get married quickly. Naturally, she's pregnant. She wants to reassure the baby it's okay to come into the world. That's what being a mother is all about. Would you even understand, not having children yourself? This is why women who can't get pregnant are considered half-complete. If you really don't want to divorce, I suppose we could keep you as a housekeeper. Not at John's place, of course. His new wife wouldn't like that. You can stay here and work as a housekeeper. That's a brilliant idea. Having a free housekeeper would certainly make things easier for us. They laughed, clearly mocking me. After that, they freely expressed their desire for me to divorce, relentlessly for 3 hours, until I was mentally exhausted when I finally got home. But what awaited me was even worse. It was John in a passionate embrace with his visibly pregnant mistress, Emily. Despite noticing my return, Emily glanced at me but didn't stop their actions. Instead, she laughed triumphantly. It felt like she was saying, "Now you'll definitely sign the divorce papers," with her laughter. John too, as if showing off how much he loves her and not me. Unable to bear it, I retreated to the bedroom, covering myself with the blanket to block out all sounds. What was I even to him? After being treated so terribly, why can't I decide to divorce? Why do I keep putting up with this? Despite all my patience, it's clear he doesn't understand. Do I intend to live like this for someone who treats me this way? The more I thought, the deeper I sank into despair, feeling pulled into the whirlpool of my thoughts. When I finally saw a way out, I heard the front door close. Emily must have left. I went into the living room. John was sprawled on the couch, looking satisfied. My feelings towards him were nausea, hatred, loathing, and finally, decisiveness. "I'll divorce you." John smiled triumphantly. As if he had one. Finally decided, huh? Get the divorce papers. We'll have a divorce ceremony at my parents' house this weekend.
Divorce ceremony?
Yeah. There's a section on the form for witness signatures.
Why? We don't have to go all the way to your parents' house to do that, do we?
We need people to approve the divorce. It's a hassle to write it at home and then find someone to approve it. If we do it at my parents' house, they can sign it right there. It's more efficient, and we can proceed with it immediately after.
I see.
She'll be happy about it too. She's been saying she wants to get divorced quickly because she's pregnant. Let's do it this weekend. All right, this weekend then. With that, I returned to my bedroom, covering my head with the blanket again. John left the house with light footsteps echoing behind him. He's off to report to Emily, isn't he? Despite the heaviness in my head and feeling suffocated, I fell asleep. A week has passed since then. Ever since, John and I have only had formal conversations, and we slept in separate rooms. It felt more like we were strangers living under the same roof rather than a married couple. I guess I've managed to sort out my feelings somewhat, as I no longer felt like crying. It was the night before our supposed divorce. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law came to our house.
Hey! Sally!
Startled by the aggressive ringing of the doorbell, I opened the door to find my mother-in-law grabbing my arm.
I have something I want to ask. I'm coming in.
She declared without waiting for an invitation.
What is your father, Sally?
What do you mean by what is he?
I just got a call from your father.
From my father?
Yes, he said Sally had informed him about the divorce.
Yes, I did.
He wouldn't tell me why, just kept saying it was his fault for not being enough. So, I asked what the reason was.
Oh, I see.
So, I told them it's true you haven't been enough. You haven't been able to have children for 3 years. Then, I felt sorry and apologized, but the real issue came after I hung up. When I mentioned your father, they heard Smith and realized your family was the Smith conglomerate with a net worth of $2 billion.
With that said, she took out her smartphone and showed it to me, and there was an article with the headline.
This is your father?
Yes, that's correct.
I had no idea you were the daughter of a conglomerate.
Well, it's just that my father is wealthy, not me. I thought that was obvious.
Don't joke with me. If your parents are wealthy, it means you'll inherit the fortune when your father passes.
Huh?
Is this true, Sally?
Well, yes, my father is wealthy, but that doesn't mean I'll just inherit everything.
Why not? It's your parents' estate, it's supposed to come to you.
I didn't know about this,
So when they asked about the divorce reason, I said it was because my son's mistress was pregnant.
That's the truth, so there's no mistake.
Then your father was shocked to hear about the mistress. And he didn't expect his daughter couldn't get pregnant. He said it was understandable that you were getting divorced.
That's exactly the case, so there's no issue.
There is a big problem. You're a daughter of a wealthy family. Yeah! Now we can eat more delicious food, go to high-end restaurants, and you can buy us brand-name clothes.
Huh?
I've always wanted a designer bag and jewelry.
Right, with all that money, there's no need for a modest life. You're marrying into millions.
We should build a new house. Living in this small place doesn't make sense. We should have a bigger house. What do you mean?
No divorce.
Why not?
Because you're the daughter of a wealthy family.
Huh?
In front of me, completely confused, my mother-in-law began to plead. Forget the divorce, please.
Huh?
Yeah, no divorce. Even my husband and sister-in-law began to beg, saying the divorce is off.
Letting go of such a great catch?
No way.
The divorce is off. You two have to stay married.
I refuse.
Why?
Just when I've finally sorted out my feelings, ready for the divorce tomorrow, why would I call it off now that you know about the money? Especially when Emily is pregnant. What are you planning to do about her and the baby?
We can just build a big house and live there all together.
Yeah, if Sally just continues to be the housekeeper, there's no problem. Fury started building inside me towards this family who only thought about money. After everything they've done, they now want to cancel the divorce, thinking such selfishness would work. I pulled out the divorce papers from a drawer and spread them on the table. My name was already written on them. Seeing this, the three of them stiffened but then quickly started to deny it.
We can just pretend this never happened. We don't need this. I really love Sally. I only thought I had to marry because Emily was pregnant. So Emily can just be a mistress, and we can continue as husband and wife. There's no need for a divorce. Yes, getting divorced after marrying is a bad move. Once you're married, you're supposed to stay together for life. You shouldn't just get divorced so easily.
I've always liked you. So, let's get along from now on. I want so many things. Let's go shopping together again, okay? What are they even talking about? This isn't just brazen. Being able to mock someone to this extent might be a talent in its own right. But the past of being dictated to and enduring this family can't just be erased. I've endured for the sake of keeping the family together, but I don't need to endure anymore.
I will get divorced. I've endured being a wife since we got married, but I'm fed up. Being pushed towards divorce because the mistress got pregnant, and just when I've sorted out my feelings, you change your tune because of money. I don't want to be even legally related to such people.
What are you talking about?
We're not getting divorced. Divorce requires mutual consent. Adultery is a valid reason for divorce.
If necessary, we can go to court. I can hire a competent lawyer. Can you afford one better than mine? So, the divorce is definite. I'll also demand alimony for the adultery.
We don't have that kind of money.
It doesn't matter if you have the money or not. I come from a wealthy family. You've committed adultery and pushed me towards divorce.
I wish you had told me earlier you were the daughter of a tycoon. Then none of this would have happened.
You wanted children, didn't you?
Even if I had money, that wouldn't have changed the fact I couldn't give you children.
You would have found a mistress anyway. If you had access to more money, maybe you'd have even more mistresses?
That's not true.
Is that so?
No, I'm not saying I want to stop the divorce because of the money. Listen, I love you. I just happen to have a mistress, but my heart only sees you.
And what if I said I wouldn't inherit any fortune after my father dies?
That's unthinkable. Inheritance automatically comes, doesn't it?
There's something called renouncing inheritance.
No way I'd allow that. If you renounce the inheritance, you lose all your value.
So, it's all about the money, then?
Of course.
Please discuss this with my lawyer from now on. Also, just so you know, your mistress's family is in deep debt. They plan to have you shoulder it once you're married.
How do you know that?
It's natural to investigate my husband's mistress. I wanted to know who I lost to. Thanks to that, I felt quite satisfied. Now, you'll have to deal with tens of millions in debt. Have fun with that, especially with a baby on the way. I'm sure you'll have a delightful life." With that, I left my husband and his family behind. A month later, my ex-husband, John, came to my parents' house. When John saw me, he started saying something outrageous.
"Let's start over, Sally,"
he said, out of the blue. "Weren't you married to Emily?"
"No, we didn't get married."
"Oh, why not? She was eager to marry, wasn't she?"
"After that, I asked her about the debt. She told me it was just as you said, tens of millions in debt. She said now that we're getting married, you'll help me pay it back. That's ridiculous. Why should I have to pay off her debts?"
"Oh, even with a child involved? That won't fly, will it?"
"No, I'm not going to marry just to be saddled with her debts. Besides, remarrying you would be much better."
"But that would trouble her, wouldn't it?"
"If it really comes to marriage, she can stay as a mistress. Then if you pay off her debts, everything will work out, right?"
How selfish.
"It's not just me saying this. Mom and my sister agree. It was decided in a family meeting."
A family meeting, huh?
"You're a millionaire's daughter, it should be no big deal for you, right?"
Indeed, such an amount of money is no big deal. But the important thing is, I have no intention of paying for someone I've divorced.
"Why didn't you say earlier your parents were wealthy?"
I've said it multiple times. The wealth belongs to my parents, not me.
"But the money would come to you eventually."
Unfortunately, my father knows that money can change people, just like you. That's why his will states that upon his passing, the entire estate will be donated. I agree with this, and so do my siblings.
"Why would you do that?"
If I can fend for myself, there's no need to accept things I don't need.
"That will is invalid."
What are you, a stranger, talking about?
"Rich people, I just can't understand. With that money, you could live comfortably."
That's exactly where the mistake lies.
"So, you're saying you're poor then?"
That's right.
"I'm not interested in a woman like that. A poor you isn't worth remarrying,"
John said as he prepared to leave. Which I didn't mind at all. But let me tell you something. I own my company. It's still small now, but I'm planning a business that can grow in the future. Is that so? But there's no guarantee it'll succeed. I'm not interested in you then. No, if you do become wealthy, then I might consider remarrying you." Laughing, John showed his true colors, so I showed him my smartphone screen. "Do you know what this is?" "It's a smartphone." I tapped an app on the screen. And immediately, security guards came and apprehended John.
"What's this?"
Tapping this sends security guards to me. They're stationed at my house, so they arrive quickly. You better not come near my house again, even if I become wealthy. As I laughed, John was thrown out of the premises. After revealing everything to his family, John was berated by his mother and sister for not remarrying. They asked him what he would do now, but he said if he went to my house, he'd only be chased away by security, so he had no choice but to give up. The mistress demanded marriage, but when faced with her debts, he refused, saying marriage and the child were separate issues. However, John adamantly denied any responsibility. Thanks to that, he was sued for child support by the woman. Furthermore, after I demanded alimony from him, his mother and sister kicked him out, refusing to share in his misfortune. They had said the family should overcome this together, but his mother and sister refused to draw the short straw. In the end, he moved into a shabby apartment, struggling with day jobs and part-time work, barely making ends meet. After leaving John, I found a new partner and enjoyed fulfilling days in both my work and personal life. My company is now on track, and my wealth is increasing. I'm heading towards being a wealthy individual without relying on my parents' inheritance. Take that.